Hello and welcome back to another Roblox scripting tutorial. Today I'll be making a second part to my previous admin commands tutorial. Remember to check that out because a lot of the things that I said in that video are completely essential in this one, because I'll be adding on to it. And basically today I'll just be creating commands that can have targets like kicking, stuff like that. So basically I'm going to create a function that can identify a target of a command, and then I'm going to create a simple kick command. In the next video, I just plan on making certain central commands, but remember to watch till the end because the stuff in this video is really important if you want to make some good admin commands. Anyways, let's begin. Now, I'm gonna first start with this global function. Now, the thing with this is I'm going to be using _G, and this creates something that a variable that is in the global space. So if you have something like string.format or game.workspace, those are all globals. Whatever script I go into, those are going to exist there. And it's basically the same thing here. If I define something with _G, I can use it in any script over and over again. And now, I know _G is very looked down upon. However, there is a way that we can optimize this in the admin command script through localization. But first, to make this work, we're going to need the argument that has the player's name in it and the player who's actually executing it, so we can identify arguments like me or others. But we'll also need to add on to this message. We'll need the message and the player that executed it, so we'll add that to this as well. And instead of connecting parse, we're going to connect a function of the message and call parse like this. And that's just the setup. And now we can actually get to scripting this function. We do local L equals argument lower. That's just so we can match things up more easily. And local targets is equal to a table. Now I'm going to do is if L is equal to all, then we want to get every single player in the game. I'm going to do for _player. Actually, probably changes to something like user. We'll just note that user is the person who is using the command, so that this works better. So for _player in pairs, players, get players. It's like get children, but it will only get a table of players. And I'm just going to insert that to the targets list. Now the reason I'm not doing something like targets equals players get players is because I tried that and it just doesn't work that well, and I don't know why exactly, but it just doesn't. So I've been doing this. So otherwise, if it's equal to other, that meaning that they want to get all the target should be every other player but themselves. So we're gonna do for _players, for _player in pairs, players get players, do if player.name lower is equal to user.name lower, then actually we're going to want to say does in pairs, players get players, do if player.name lower is equal to user.name lower, then table.insert targets player. This is just going to make it so if that person has the user's name, then we know that's the person who's executing the command. But now we're going to want to check for things like if my name is arccosine, which it is, people can refer to me in the command as just arc, not like my whole username. So I'm going to do else for _player in pairs players get players do if player.name lower sub 1 hashtag arg is equal to arg lower than, and that's just making it so basically if we have something like I don't know, the person's name is arc cosine and we got the first 3 letters of their name, it's going to check if arc is equal to arc, and clearly it is, so we're going to know that that's the correct player. However, with the addition of display names, this makes it a little bit more complicated. So I'm also going to check for if the player has the correct display name after this. So targets player, like we did so many times before. I'm going to do else if, but since I'm checking for like multiple conditions, I'm actually going to go like that instead. So else if player.character doesn't equal nil and player.character.humanoid.displayname, and I'm just going to do the same thing that we did before. And I'm going to insert them to that table. And then you could just return the targets. It's a pretty long function, just in the way that it's so repetitive, I guess. But I guess you could shorten it, but it's very specific in the way it works. So that's just how I figured I'd do it. Anyways, with that out of the way, I'm going to go to my commands folder that I created in the last video. And I'm going to create a new module script which will act as the command. I'm going to name it kick, and remember that the this is name sensitive, so it can identify what command we're trying to use in the parsing function. What I'm going to do is local get target equals underscore g dot get target, because and using that when we localize it, it's going to get rid of all that garbage global variable slowing down type stuff. So now I'm going to actually create the command, which is going to now take in the arguments and the player who set it, so that we can use the get target function. And what I'm going to do is local target equals get target, and we're of course when we want the first argument or something like that, so I could do something like kick arc, like that, and the player who's doing it. And now we want to get like a kick message, so I could kick somebody for, let's say, exploiting. I used to do something like kick arc stop hacking or something like that. So I could do message equals table.concat. Now what table.concat does is it takes all the items in a table and it separates them by some sort of string. So I can do all the arguments are separated by 1 space. But now it's also going to take into account the player that we identified. So instead of having it say stop hacking in the message, it's going to say arc stop hacking, which is a little bit disorientating. So we're going to have to figure out a way to get rid of that part. So let's create, we're going to use gsub for that. Now what gsub does is it identifies a pattern in a string, and I'll actually leave a link in the description about what string patterns are, because they're pretty complicated, and it's just good to read up on them because you will be using them quite a bit. And I'm just going to do string.format %s %s star, and then something like args1, no, just nothing, just a blank string, and yeah, args1, and then in here we want to have nothing. So I'm going to break down kind of what this is saying. So string.format is different than a string pattern. So when we have something like string.format, we have %s. So if I put args1 in there, it's going to make this %s into arc or whatever other thing that you wanted to put there in this second argument. But I have %s here again because I don't want this other %s to be swapped out for anything, because this is going to be a part of the string pattern that like gets rid of stuff. And when you take into account string patterns, %s star is basically that space after the person's username. If you're confused on what I'm trying to talk about here, I do suggest you read about string patterns and string formatting, and I will make sure to link something in the description. But just know that that's just how it's done. And I'm I'm actually gonna name this to targets because it's multiple. I'm gonna do for underscore target in pairs targets do target kick message. Alright, so now I'm just going to test the commands out and see if they work or not. If not, we could go back and we could test them. And what I'm gonna do is do kick arc. I'm gonna do exploiting, something like that, exploiting and scamming. And when I press enter and execute the command, it's going to kick me for exploiting and scamming. Anyways, that's it for today's tutorial. If you liked it, remember to like and subscribe. It's completely free and it takes only 2 seconds of your time. Also, if you're interested in this series, I will be creating more on it. I have plans to make a video just about basic commands like force field and kill and jail, stuff like that. So if you're interested, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.